Good morning, YouTube. Western Digital Blue 500 gig or half a terabyte. This little puppy, of course, was one of those ones that was given to me from a customer when they upgraded to an SSD. And of course, I just rechecked the numbers on this, so if I mentioned the wrong number in the last video about the Seagate review we just did, I rechecked the numbers, and this one actually has just over 7,000 hours. Okay, so it's under 8,000 hours. It's like 7,700 and something hours. Still being listed as good condition. So yeah, 7,000 hours is nothing. That's like minor, right? Now, as far as the age of this little puppy goes, let's check the date of manufacture on this one if it's listed. And what are we looking at here? It's got to be somewhere on here. Date of birth, where are you? August of 2015. Actually, the 28th of August 2015. Very specific. So that's actually within a year of our Seagate. So, I mean, we're talking 2015, 2025, 20-year-old drive with less than 8,000 hours on it. That's actually pretty impressive. Just remember, hard drives are very fragile, so don't drop them. SSDs, not so fragile. You don't have to worry. These things you do. But as a naked drive, this thing's probably worth about 10 bucks. Okay, like around that area. And that's in this current condition with that kind of runtime, okay? You don't measure write or read cycles on HDDs. That's only done on SSDs. Okay, like as long as these things spin and there's no errors, these things will last, right? So that's the thing. They are mechanical. They are going to be very slow for reading and writing, which is why a lot of people take even older laptops and go to SSDs because it breathes new life into the computer like massively. Okay, I remember when I put my first SSD into my late 2013 iMac 27-inch, and because it came with a 1 terabyte HDD from the factory, right? And it's like, oh, boot! Come on! Especially when the OS got bigger and bigger, it's like, oh! You know what I mean? And so when I went SSD, same OS, it was going, ah! I'm like, holy crap, that's loaded? Oh, wow! You know, programs, they fire up, they launch, they run better and smoother and faster with an SSD. SSD's gonna rule, sorry. But for backup purposes, sure. Is 500 gigs good for a backup drive? Well, it's good for 500 gigs worth of stuff, so as long as you can jam, 500 gigs worth on, you're good to go. Don't ever stuff a drive of any kind too far. SSDs, actually, we have to keep a lot of space. Like, we're only allowed to apparently use 80% of the drive size. So it's like, what are we really buying then, if that's the way it is? HDDs, though, you can fill them up to the last, I don't know, 10 megabytes, and they'll still be fine. I mean, that's pretty tight. I wouldn't do it with an OS drive, but for a data drive, yeah, stuff it to the gills, man. It's not going to hurt anything. As long as you leave a couple megabytes free, obviously, because you're going to need to at least do that. But otherwise, yeah, you're pretty much solid and good to go. At being, around that 7,000 lifespan of hours, that is nothing really for any drive, to be honest. It's very minor, okay? When you get like, 70, 80,000 hours, I'm pretty sure that's getting pretty toasted. But yeah, it's still in the green light of good. And still a low mileage drive. The other one is half the mileage, and it's 1 year difference. It's only got a little over 3,000 hours on it. But this one actually has about double the mileage, and it's still going good and strong. It's still got no bad blocks or sectors on it, neither does the other one. As long as that maintains its course, they're going to be good drives for, at least for backing stuff up. Okay, just not very good as a boot drive. Okay, they're really useless for that nowadays, especially with Windows 10, Windows 11, soon to be coming Windows 12. 10 is now toast, by the way. Microsoft's completely toasted it now. But regardless of that fact, still a pretty good little drive. So I give it a 4 out of 5, but it ain't worth very much money. That's the big thing. Very little money this thing is worth in all. So, but it is the way it goes. I mean, you get the same problem with SSDs in the same size category. They're actually worth more because, well, they are faster after all, and no moving parts. So, but even those things could have a lot of hours on them and a lot of terabytes written, and that is probably the only thing you need to be concerned about with SSD is what is the lifespan for every, you know, half a terabyte or terabyte of space. What's the manufacturer's mean runtime? Some of these drives have been known to go 3 to 5 times more mileage on an SSD than what it's rated for, and still being quite good. So it's just kind of what I think part of what they do it for is there is a reality to it at some point, but there's also the simple fact that, well, they also do want you to buy a new drive in a couple of years. So it's everything has a scam behind it somewhere, but like I said, I've seen SSDs even that have had 5 times more runtime than they're supposed to according to the manufacturer, and they're still, like, health statistic is still like 99% kind of deal, right? Regardless, but you know, HDDs, they do last a long time. They really do. It's just that they're very impractical nowadays for OS drives, but people do like to use them for backup drives because they work for that. It just takes forever to transfer stuff back and forth either way. So it is kind of your thing and whatever you want to do. But I would still put the word of caution when buying used. Make sure you can check the drive out, because if it is anything below good condition, run, okay? But as long as it's good and the runtime hours is not bad on it, like 20,000 hours type of thing, maybe even 30,000, it should still be in the good zone, then you probably still got a really good viable drive. I don't know what the actual hour runtime is on a hard drive, because you can't rely on that information ever, just like we can't rely on it on SSDs, you know? It's just not something we can rely on for actual viable information, okay? I think way too much paranoia gets put into people, to be honest, but that's just the way it is. Now, what am I going to do with that? I don't know. I got the Seagate 1 terabyte, which offers me twice the storage, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that 500 yet, but I'm sure I'll find a use for it down the road eventually. And I got a case for it that I can throw in, so no big deal. You can use it for something. But anyway, that's what I got for you on this one. And thanks for staying tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.